Well, it appears that the current director of the current chairman of the BBC was appointed, quote, on merit, according to Mr. Cleverly, at exactly the same time when he was having dinner in Chequers with Boris Johnson and discussing being the guarantor of a loan because Boris was, well, to quote Brideshead Revisited, in Queer Street. And, you know, the problem is that these two events were happening at the same time. Boris's need for financial support and Boris as Prime Minister appointing the head of the BBC, a political appointment rather than an appointment by the BBC for the BBC. Richard Sharp was clearly somebody who had been donating to the Conservative Party as well as donating his support to Mr. Johnson specifically. It may be above board, it may be just within a whisker of acceptable behaviour, but it is nevertheless something that raises eyebrows, and when it's linked in time to the appalling story of the person who arranges the taxes in this country, albeit for a short period of time, being revealed at the same time to have been under investigation by HMRC, and now he's paid off the money that, quote, he owes, plus a substantial fine, and Nadhim Zahawi still expects to be the chairman of the Conservative Party. It's chairman all round, isn't it? People who are nominally in charge, people who are the figurehead of organisations in our country, have some sort of cloud over them. It comes back to the same issue again and again and again. The people at the top should be beyond suspicion, like Caesar's wife. It doesn't matter whether their affairs are legal, actually. The fact that people are talking about the possible illegality of what they've done makes their position untenable. It's not about judging them before there's been a proper investigation. It's the fact that there should never need to be an investigation in the first place. There are plenty of people across the country who could take on either job and not a question would be raised about their behaviour in the past. Now, as for Richard Sharp, in a way, it's not even his fault. In a way, it's the way that he was used by a Prime Minister whose affairs, and we use that term as loosely as we want to, whose affairs have been headline, and for all the wrong reasons. We think of Sofagate and the need to have the sofa cleaned. We think of his relationship with Truth and the need for an investigation by the Principals Committee. We think of his relationship with money and the need for loan after loan and for help. We think of his relationship with his friends and the question marks and the eyebrows that are raised about phone calls and very, very dodgy conversations which are recalled, particularly about, thuggish behaviour. And this, of course, goes back years. Boris has a very dodgy relationship with facts. And although, as I say, he will probably go down in history as the person who gave Mr. Zelensky backbone to continue. That is as far as it should go. I can't think of any other positives that can be dragged out in favour of this man. The only dragging that is going on is dragging down, and Boris is dragging down our country. And what he has spawned is a government of half-wits and poor achievers who are clinging on and who are talking big. It's a bully boy government, or fast becoming so. It's certainly a government that I am increasingly inclined to distance myself from as much as I possibly can. I don't want to deal with this government. I don't want it to be acting in my name. It isn't. And I think it's the first time in my life that I've said this about a government in our country. Doesn't matter whether it's conservative, whether it's some sort of conservative liberal pact, or whether it's Labour. This is a government that is fast becoming a shame. And I think it's down to Boris.